Grit Daily would like to welcome you to Monday Motivation.
Hey everyone, as always, thanks so much for listening to Monday Motivation. Hoping that the next 4 or 5 minutes or so are helpful, not only for the rest of the day, but for the rest of the week and maybe even beyond that. So let's get right into it. Today, the whole theme is about competing priorities. That's right. When you've got all kinds of things going on and it seems like pretty much everything is absolutely mission critical and that if you don't get it done, something bad is going to happen. And so that begins to work on you. Your blood pressure goes up. You start to feel a sense of panic. Oh, if you're like me, you start to indulge in food because you think, oh, that's a good way. I'll procrastinate by stuffing my face. Then I'll feel good. I'll get that sense of comfort, only to feel completely uncomfortable after because I stuffed my face and now I don't want to focus on the work that I have to do. But whatever it is that we do, we've got all kinds of coping mechanisms as people who want to try to avoid doing what we have to do. And it's not even a matter of procrastination. Sometimes it's that we're completely overwhelmed. There are so many tasks on our plate that we don't know where to begin. And it's easy to become paralyzed because there's no way to be able to filter through it. Or is there? Well, I think so. Experts think so. There's a number of tips that you can do to help you with those tough choices when you've got 1,001 competing priorities. And when you think about it, we all get through our days every day, and every single day we're each faced with hundreds, maybe even thousands of small little decisions. On their own, most of them are pretty much inconsequential. Should I answer this email now or after? Should I have toast or should I do something first? Lots of choices. And for the most part, doesn't really matter. But every day there's always one thing or two things that are going to be nagging at us until we get it done, because those are the big deliverables. They're not just urgent, but they're important. You've got to get them done. There's some consequence if you do not complete them. So prioritization, though, is one of the skills that's actually kind of languishing these days. People as a whole in society are getting increasingly distracted, largely digitally distracted, of course, with social media and whatnot. And largely some of this is our own self-doing because we don't have the self-agency to tell ourselves that, no, I'm not going to scroll through my Instagram feed mindlessly for the next 30, 40, or 50 minutes, even though you say it's only going to be 5, which, of course, let's all be honest, it's never 5 minutes. And then you've lost your focus, you've lost your motivation, you don't want to go back to that task that you had to do, that you were procrastinating, trying to avoid on social media anyway. So it's kind of a lose-lose. So here's a few tips on how to be able to prioritize all of those competing tasks. One of the things is a matrix. Now, we've talked about this before. Some people complain that their matrix... Some people complain that some of the matrices proposed are simply too complex, too many choices, and then they're already overwhelmed with a very long list, and now they've got to assign 5 or 6 or 8 different variables, and it's too much. So we're going to keep it really simple. Sit down and start to write a list. Go as fast as you can. Item 1, 2, 3, 4. Write them down as quickly as you can. Don't even think about it, just whatever comes out of your head. And if you've passed about a minute or so and you've noticed the ideas are kind of slowing down, sort of like, when you're making popcorn, right? If you still make it on the stove or you hear it even on the microwave, it's popping, popping, pop, go, 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 and then it just kind of peters out. Well, when you get to that point, stop writing. You thought about enough tasks. Now go back and look at all of those tasks. And this is tip number 1. Ask yourself, is it urgent or is it important? If it's urgent, highlight it, circle it in red, add an asterisk, whatever you have to do. And then look at your list in totality. If you've got not even more than half, but more than a third of the items that are all urgent, there's something wrong. That's too many. So you're going to have to go and attack the list again. This time, you only get to pick 3 tasks that are going to be classified as urgent. And this in itself is the essence of prioritization. There's a fun quote that I saw. I don't really know who had originally said it, but I think it's a good one. On the topic of priorities, if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. Now, ain't that the truth? All right, so moving along. Tip number 2. If you're feeling overwhelmed, communicate. go talk to a colleague first. Maybe she, he, or them has a little extra time this week and can lend a hand to help you get over the hump. If not, go to your boss and explain that this week is beyond bonkers crazy with everything hitting at once, and ask if there's a little latitude with respect to what you're on the hook to deliver. Now, when it comes to communicating that message with clients, well, that's a whole lot tougher, and that's the pickle that I was in today. You don't want to disappoint them, but you don't want to deliver crap either, which is likely the outcome if you're going to be pulling an all-nighter to try to hit the deliverable. The reality is that just about everyone has experienced a time crunch at some point before in their lives, and for the most part, well, people have some level of empathy and tolerance for flexibility with due dates, so just ask. You never know. But here's a bonus tip. Don't play the time crunch card more than a couple of times per year, or you're going to get labeled, and you don't want that. Tip number 3, slay the beast. Well, some people call it the 20% task. Others call it the nasty frog that you got to choke down once you stop procrastinating long enough to do so. They're all metaphors, but they refer to the same thing. There's always one big behemoth of a to-do that's on our list. It's the beast that we want to avoid fighting, but we won't be free until we slay it. Attack it the first thing whenever you begin your workday. Knock it out, and that sense of euphoria that you'll feel once you've declared victory over the task will boost your productivity for hours into the day. So you'll have plenty of extra kind of juice in the tank to work through your way to the rest of the items on the list. All right, people, that is it. Monday Motivation is a wrap. Hopefully, this has helped you out, and we'd welcome feedback. Have a great week.
Follow us at Grit Daily on social media and listen to all of our podcasts, including Like a Boss on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, or your favorite platform. For special guest submissions, email Loralyn at gritdaily.com.